Hey guys, I'm Kaylin. This is Chloe. I'm the author of the Parrot Bliss, and today we are going to talk to you about which of some of the African gray parrots I would prefer. And I'm going to talk to you about the 9 species of African gray parrots, although I haven't had the pleasure of most of them. They're pretty rare, and when you can find them, they tend to be pretty expensive. This, of course, is Chloe. She is a Congo African gray. And there is also the Timneh African gray. Technically, there's another species of African gray, but I don't even know if I've ever seen one. So generally, we really just talk about the 2 species, the Timneh and the African gray, the Congo. The thing about the Congo is that amongst breeders, there's a story that basically when people first had them in captivity, they think that the Congos sort of were easier to come around, like the Timnehs were a little quieter. I would say they're a little more docile. And so for that reason, people thought Congos made better pets and wound up breeding them more so instead. I think that has to do with the fact that Timnehs are a little more docile and easygoing. And I think it's a shame. Timneh parrots are really quite awesome. I lost my Bliss, which was really heartbreaking because she got a disease that we couldn't do anything about. And it's a terrible disease, PDD, which African gray parrots are prone to, the grays and the Timnehs. And on that continent, the neotropical, other birds like macaws are as well. It's a very, very terrible disease. Anyway, Timnehs actually can also learn to talk, and they are said to be pretty darn sweet and friendly. I really like my Timneh. I love Chloe. Chloe is a recently new addition to us. She's 17 years old. A breeder friend asked if I wanted her, and I said sure. I'd lost Bliss, so I was like, sure. Chloe was born with the breeder, had a birth defect with her foot. You could see right there. And for that reason, they didn't sell her as a regular pet. They gave her to their parents. But I think the parents passed away, and so they took Chloe back and had her for a little while and then asked if I wanted her. So that's why Chloe is the way she is. And she also is a plucker. You could see that. Not the greatest thing. She is very friendly. You could see right now, she just loves bonding. She kind of likes mimicking the feeding, like we're feeding each other. I think it's almost like going around kissing for her. She will let me pet her. She likes to spend time with me. She likes to hang out with me. But she is definitely not quite as sweet and easygoing as Bliss was, my Timneh. If I was choosing between an African gray and a Timneh, and they were both the same, either they were both babies or, you had a comparable circumstance for both within the choice. Frankly, I think I'd go for the Timneh. You just saw what she just did right now. She kind of got just a itty bitty bit cranky and kind of grabbed at my finger. Not enough to do anything, but she's just sort of saying that I'm not doing the right thing. Like she wants her pets the way she wants her pets. My Timneh was more easygoing, and so I do prefer that. I understand that they both speak equally, and I have certainly heard them both speak. I don't know that one really learns more words than the other. I have a fascination with African parrots. I don't know what it is. I love them. Although I have a fascination with parrots, I haven't really met a species I didn't like. I have had capes, and I do have a cape now, Max, and I have had Senegals. I had Harry and Hermione, and I really loved all of them. I've never had the pleasure of a Meyer's, a red belly, any of the others. Like I said, the others, they're really hard to find and pretty expensive, at least $1,000, if not $2,000 kind of thing. They are not as prolific of breeders as some other parrots, even parrots their size. So it is harder to find them. When it comes to those parrots, therefore, the ones that I've had as pets are 4 species, right? The Timneh, the Congo African gray, the Cape Parrot, and we call it a Cape Parrot, even though it's really not technically a Cape Parrot, and a Senegal. The thing about the Senegals is they can really be one-person parrots, which African greys are said to be able to be that way too. When they're a one-person parrot, if you're not familiar, that means that they can be friendly and very loving with the one person that they consider to be their partner. And then they can be very nippy or even attack others. And that can be really problematic and cause problems for people in your house, because if your bird's out, they can't like be around or walk by without getting flown at and bitten and, you know, that kind of thing. So it makes for an uncomfortable, not relaxed, not loving, not calm circumstance. At that point, they're sort of the exact opposite of a dog, you know, where your typical dog sort of loves everyone, wags its tail, wants pets from everyone. This is like an animal at that point that no one can come near. It's all bite, you know, so it can be a little difficult. And that seems more common with Senegals. It doesn't mean that every Senegal is like that. It just seems pretty common. My favorite species, which is one of my all-time favorite species, is the Cape Parrot, which is probably really the gray hooded parrot. I love Cape Parrots. They seem very easygoing, very smart. They are not prolific talkers the way African greys are, but they're very sweet and I think very affectionate and very loving. So if I had a choice between the 4 species I've experienced and I could only pick one, it would probably have to be a Cape Parrot. I hope that teaches you some or gives you some of my take on those 4 species. My first guess is that any African parrot would be amazing. They're just really, really intelligent birds, and for their colors being kind of muted, downplayed, I think their personalities make up for it. I think they are amazing birds. Thank you for joining me in this blissful video. Any questions or comments, place them below. And then Chloe and I will see you next time.